you said, I'm Carter, Senior Analyst at SuperData, and I'm here to talk about some of our latest insights on the social casino industry. In particular, I want to talk about a big trend. We know mobile is sort of winning the race for social casino dominance, but does that mean you should abandon PC? So to start, a bit about SuperData. As I said, I'm our lead social casino analyst, and we produce monthly metrics and quarterly reports on the social casino industry. We also focus on the games industry as a whole and related fields like esports and virtual reality. Our real strength is our data sharing partnerships with game publishers and payment service providers. They provide us transaction level data on 78 million unique gamers. This lets us build out title level metrics and projections for markets, country level, worldwide, on various segments, including social, mobile, social casino. And social casino is one of our oldest focus areas since the company's founding. And top publishers in the space turn to us for our insights. So before we start, a quick show of hands. How many people here involved in running a mobile social casino game? All right, how about a PC social casino game? Okay, so PC is definitely in the minority. That's to be expected these days. And before we get into why I think PC is definitely worth a second look, I want to talk a bit about the social casino market. So here's our estimate of the current social casino market. We see North America really dominates the market as a whole because of the lack of real money gambling. There's a lot of demand for gambling type games. Now, you may be wondering, where's Asia? We generally include it separately from our normal projections and estimates, and that's because the game types that are most popular in Asia are very different from the West. So if you have a game type like slots that's popular in the US and Europe, you're not necessarily going to be able to bring that to Asia and expect a lot of success. Slots is actually the least popular social casino game type in China, and a local game, Fight the Landlord, card game, is the most popular in China. So it's not really an addressable market unless you approach it with a very Asia-specific strategy. So that's why numbers that I'm going to cite throughout this are not including Asia. Now, to answer the main question, are PC social casino games dead? Well, the news doesn't seem great at first. So PC is now the least popular social casino platform. Tablet overtook it this year. So we're going PC. It's in the U.S. at least. It's now a bit less than half of players that play on PC. As you can see, smartphone is obviously way in the lead. And it's also important not just to look at the share of players playing, but what their device overlap is looking like. So here we've got the smartphone. This represents the smartphone segment of the audience. Now I'm going to add tablet players. The overlap is players that play on both. And finally, PC. So in the center, that's players that play on all three device types. And as you can see, the smartphone-only player base is the biggest part of the social casino audience, about 27%. Meanwhile, the share of people that play only on PC is just 6% of the audience. And 22% play on all three devices, 16% play on just smartphone and PC. So as you can see, PC doesn't have a huge share. And when we look at the overall trends, this is the change during 2016. The share of players who play only on smartphones has risen substantially, 11 percentage points. Meanwhile, the share of people that play only on PC has fallen by 9 percentage points. So that shows that a lot of PC-only players have shifted over to other platforms. So with all this in mind, why should you care about PC social casino games? It seems like a declining market, but there is still definitely money to be made. So this is last week's top grossing games on Facebook. 10 of the top 12 are social casino games. It used to be 3 of the top 5 were social casino, then 7 or 8 of the top 10. Now we're at 10 of the top 12. So the the social games industry on desktop is definitely in a sort of contracting phase, but social casino is really holding strong in the space. And they're not necessarily the most played games on Facebook, but they are certainly the highest grossing. And let's talk, in the US actually, it's probably about half of all desktop social game revenue is social casino games. So when you look at overall growth trends and talk about some concrete numbers, you can see the market is shifting to mobile. Keep in mind, as I mentioned, this does not include Asia. The mobile share would be even larger if it did, because China is very mobile focused in their social casino space. So as you can see, PC, it's generally projected to peak about this year and start a gradual decline. And mobile is picking up steam and sort of offsetting that decline. So it's overall a pretty stable market, but shifting gradually to mobile. But if we look at PC, it's still going to grow about $3.7 billion outside of Asia in the next 3 years. So you're really leaving money on the table if you ignore this market completely. And so the PC player base, as you know, is quite a bit smaller, but players are quite a bit more valuable on PC than mobile. So if we take a look at conversion rates, we can see that generally on some segments, PC is higher, on other segments, mobile is higher. So casino style, and by casino style, I mean games like Double Down and Big Fish Casino that include slots, poker, bingo, whole variety of apps. So Double Down Casino, Big Fish, those are some of the best examples of that. But if we look at actual spending per player, of the players that spend, PC is way in the lead. PC casino style games, the average spender spends $85 a month in the US. This is the data as of May of this year. And for every segment except poker, PC is pretty far in the lead. So if you're able to get a PC player and keep them playing, they're going to be much more valuable to you on average than a mobile player. And PC players also play for longer on average. That's because there's less competition for, because few people are releasing all new non-social casino games on PC. So this is our lifetime value, and to read this on the x-axis, we've got the average player lifetime. On the y-axis, or sorry, the average paying player lifetime, which is really important to note. On the y-axis, we've got the monthly spending. Just to note, slots and casino have about the same average lifetime on mobile. The blue represents mobile, orange PC. And so the larger the bubble, the greater the lifetime value. And as you can see, for pretty much every segment, except bingo, the lifetime is longer on PC. And generally speaking, across genres, the PC lifetime value is going to be quite a bit higher. Casino games, people that play on PC are just super dedicated to social casino games as a whole. So it's not really a growing audience, but it is at this point, the really steep contractions have already occurred. So it's, really steep falls in the player base have already occurred. So it's a pretty stable player base compared to what it was 2 years ago. And these players are very willing to spend. It's also important to note, not every social casino publisher is necessarily in their primary goal might not be generating revenue. A lot of land-based casinos, regional casinos, they want to attract consumers to play in their apps while they're off the casino floor, sort of as a consumer engagement solution. The share of mobile players and PC players that visit land-based casinos in the US is about the same. A little over half visit at least once a year in the US, but the share who specifically play social casino games to get their sort of gambling type game experience offline, or online rather, is much higher on PC than mobile. So like Foxwoods Online as an example of a casino, I think they launched on PC and mobile as a way to engage players who are especially interested in the PC space. So if you are one of the developers focused on making white label apps, you really want to be looking at offering this to your land-based casino clients. I do have one very important caveat to make. It's not every genre that's necessarily going to have success on PC still. Poker and bingo have very limited PC revenue. This is the monthly revenue for the industry as of May. As you can see, poker is pretty much a duopoly between Zynga Poker and World Series of Poker, and there is very little revenue to be had on PC still. Similarly with bingo, there's a bit less on PC than mobile, and that's also a duopoly between Bingo Blitz and Bingo Bash. So I'd say in general, slots and casino-style games are a much safer bet on PC. It obviously depends on your revenue targets and such, but in general, you're less likely to succeed with poker and bingo games launching those on PC in this day and age. So it's not that every publisher should go PC first, certainly. The market is clearly shifting toward mobile, and most publishers are going to go mobile first. So that being said, here's how a publisher can go mobile first to ensure they're focusing on the growth areas, but still succeed in PC. So it's important to note that demographics are pretty closely aligned between mobile social casino players and PC social casino players. This didn't used to be the case. It used to be that smartphone players were about 6 years younger than PC players, but gradually the sort of older PC-only audience has started shifting over to smartphones, and that's brought the average age up. As you can see, average incomes, gender ratios, pretty much the same. A bit higher on tablet just because that's sort of still a luxury device, not less of a necessity than a computer or phone. So that being said, you don't have to focus on specific themes, things like that. The same sort of game can appeal to the same demographic groups on PC and console, or PC and mobile rather. So it's also important to note you don't have to redesign your user interface to go from mobile to PC if you're going mobile first. So it used to be, social casino games would launch first on PC, and eventually a lot of them came over to mobile. So here's the current homepage for Double Down Casino on PC. As you can see, it's got a lot of different options. It looks like a virtual casino lobby, a lot of small icons you can't really click on unless you have a mouse. It'd be impossible to navigate this with your finger. And the mobile version is much more stripped down. It's got, it's really about taking you into the slots fast. And it doesn't even have all the game types. There's a few that are missing from mobile because the player base really values getting into the game fast. So if you're going mobile, PC to mobile, you really need to concentrate on changing the user interface and investing in a mobile-focused user interface. But the opposite is true if you're going from mobile to PC. So here's Play Studio's My Vegas slots, and it's got a pretty mobile-oriented user interface, or sorry, PC-oriented user interface. Very sort of tall to fit a monitor. But let's compare it to a more recent launch of theirs, the PC version of My Konami slots. This is the PC version, but as you can see, it clearly looks like a mobile game. And PC players will tolerate a mobile-focused user interface at this point. It just generally works better than trying to bring a PC user interface to mobile. So you don't really have to invest in an entirely new user interface to bring your mobile social casino game to PC. It's also important to note that PC players are in fact the most social of social casino players. 55% enjoy playing with their friends compared to 43% on mobile. And about a third enjoy chatting with others compared to 27% of mobile players. One moment. So with that in mind, we're seeing a lot of apps like Big Fish Casino, Huge Casino, focus on the social interaction, having chat rooms and stuff, and FlowPlay's Vegas World focuses on interactive social spaces, and they're a very PC-focused game. And the reason for that is PC players, they're probably playing at the same times. They're not trying to get in a few minutes of casino play while they're in the train. They know when they play, they can be online at the same time as their friends. So with that in mind, they can sort of gather around and use this as a social space, whereas mobile players, much more solitary because they're not going to stick around if they're just playing while waiting in line at the grocery store or something. And on a related note, the share of the PC audience that hears about games through personal recommendations is a bit higher on PC than mobile. Advertising, social network ads, in-app ads, still the main way to get players in social casino, but PC players are going to be a bit more likely to recommend their game to friends, and their friends are going to be more likely to play. So you can slightly increase your share of sort of organic installs if you get PC players to recommend their games to their friends. So some key takeaways to conclude things. The answer to the first question, are PC social casino games dead? Not really. It's shrinking ever so slightly, but we've certainly got several years of rather substantial revenue ahead of us. And that's because PC social casino players are big spenders. They've got long player lifetimes. At this point, anyone who's still playing on PC is going to be very dedicated to social casino games. But if you're looking at poker or bingo, you may not want to look at PC as strongly as if you have slots and casino-style games in your library. And you do not have to change your user interface, really, if you're going from mobile to PC. Players are pretty accepting on PC of a mobile-focused user interface. And finally, if your game focuses on social interactions, it's almost a no-brainer to look at PC, just because that is where the players who play for social reasons still play. All right, thank you very much for making it out here quite early, and I'd like to open it to questions. Here's my contact info on the right. Yeah, feel free to reach out.
What is your thoughts on the opportunities for table games in the social casino sector?
That's about 1% of the market, so it's pretty limited overall, I'd say. Yeah, now maybe including them in casino-style apps is a way to make them viable, but we've seen sort of standalone like blackjack apps or roulette apps haven't had huge successes, so the market's just generally a bit less fertile for those overall, I'd say.
Sorry. So in the non-US market, which are the top three, I mean, I don't know if you mentioned countries, but it's still hanging on to the PC growth or somewhat stable top three or top four geos.
I'd say definitely not Asia. China is one of the biggest, but they're so mobile focused due to the popularity of WeChat and such. I could look at the actual breakdowns, but if you could shoot me an email, I can get you a list of those countries.
One of the slides you talked about playing with friends. What did you use to know that they wanted to come play with friends if they're not chatting? Yeah,
so that's that's survey based. I can bring it up. That's just a survey based question. We asked qualified social casino players, what are some of the things you enjoyed? Asking about things like social features, whether they enjoy slots based on real money, casino slots, that sort of thing. So that's sort of self-reported. Why do you enjoy social casino? And fairly large share play with friends. And we see a lot of difference with this stat depending on countries. In China, it's about 85% that play with friends. This is US-based survey data because that's what most people are going to be focusing on.
Yeah, that longer LT and bigger LTV that you see on PC for things like slots, has that persisted for the last 5 years or so? Has that been consistently longer and bigger?
I can't say for sure whether the last 5 years, but based on reports I've done in the past 2.5 or so years, I've definitely seen PC's been pretty consistently ahead as far as lifetime value.
Thank you, Carter.
Thank you, everyone.